All right. Matthew's question says, the guys always say first in, first out when referring to the buckets to pull from in retirement. Is it okay to pull contributions from the Roth bucket to bridge a pre-59.5 retirement gap?
Well, Matthew, I don't know that we say first in, first out.
No, we do not.
When it comes to
To be honest, I was like, I don't remember them saying that. I'm going to see what they say.
We always talk about LIFO,
Yes.
which is a lot of times last in, first out.
So when you think about the way that, when it comes to our wealth building journey, and if you follow the financial, Brian, do you have a thing you can hold up? Do you have something you can shake at him?
Yeah, I was looking for, oh my goodness, my main
You took it on the book tour.
I took it on the book tour, and we haven't
Who
unpacked
knows
it.
where that
So
is?
You get it doesn't have the same sound because it doesn't sound as good. Oh well.
If you want your free copy, you can go to moneyguy.com/resources. If you're following the financial order of operations, what happens for most people is you end up starting with a Roth IRA at some point. I mean, you do the employer match, but generally when you start saving, you put money in a Roth IRA. So that goes in first. Well, then you get a job and you start doing your 401k or your 403b, and then that starts. And then you get to step 7, you do hyperaccumulation. Now you start doing after tax. So you went Roth and then pre-tax or employer-sponsored plan, and then you went after tax. Well, what's really interesting is when it comes time to retire, when it comes to financial independence and you start decumulating, in practice, what most often happens is we go LIFO. You actually, in most circumstances, in our experience, you begin to pull out of your after-tax bucket first, and then you begin to deplete your pre-tax bucket. And the last bucket that you begin to deplete is your Roth bucket. So often we don't say that you go FIFO in retirement, you go LIFO in retirement.
But there are people out there that have created some unique models and other things where they're saying, because you can take even Roth 401ks, roll them out, and you can chisel into that principal tax-free. So a lot of people are saying, man, that's a great opportunity to create a bridge account for retirement.
Yep.
Here's the problem. And look, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's actually a very cool little technical thing that you can do to get tax-free access to assets. The problem I have with it, and this is where I turn into Gollum from Lord of the Rings, is I think about how valuable, my precious tax-free growth is. And because these are financial mutants, people who are making really good decisions with your money. The reality is you're probably not leaving this planet with zero. It just, if you're good with money, part of your problem with the complexity is the money starts growing upon itself. But then you ask yourself, well, maybe I should have not saved as much. Well, no, because you don't know which dollars were the ones that actually got you to the critical mass where this thing starts just growing upon itself beyond your wildest imagination. So you have to still put in the effort in those first 20 years because success is not assured. And believe me, if you look at the stats, you'll see the majority of people are horrible at that part of it. But when you get to having assets, you're going to look at those Roth assets and you're like, man, the government doesn't let me put but this much in per year, and it's not that huge of a number. And then they only let me put this in if my income's under this threshold. And you're like, you want to go burn through those assets first while I still might have 20 to 30 years for that money to compound on top of itself. Plus, if I make my loved ones the beneficiary on these, they get a 10-year stretch. And if they have special needs or some other, unique thing that was written into the tax law, they actually get to stretch this for their lifespan. You start thinking about Roth money a little differently. And it's not my idol. Like Gollum made the rings the idol. But it is one of those things where I can't help but think about my precious tax-free growth. My precious.
I love it. Here's something. I want to tell them to do something, Ruby. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I want you to subscribe right now because there is something exciting coming. And I don't normally do these kind of teasers. We're actually working on a show right now that'll be coming out in the next few weeks, or if you're watching this, perhaps it's already came out, where we're going to walk through some like early retirement strategies, like decumulation strategies, where we're going to dive into this very thing. Okay, what does it look like if I pull from my after-tax bucket? What does it look like if I pull from the Roth? What's it look like if I pull from my 401k? What are all these different things? It's a really fun show that's going to go super deep into the weeds. Well, the only way you're going to know about it when that show comes out is if you're subscribed right now. So please subscribe to the channel so that as we release that kind of stuff, you can know about it. But Matthew, I think in practice, so FIFO, LIFO, all that stuff, that's academic. In practice, personal finance is personal. Because we have some people, when they get to retirement, for whatever reason, we might have to pull out the Roth in the early few years. Or we might have folks who we do Roth conversion strategies, or we have folks that don't have any after-tax assets. So there is not a tried and true answer to the one way to do it well, because it depends on your unique circumstances, your unique timeline, your unique factors. But I think approaching it from a LIFO standpoint is going to at least give you an idea of a way to think through it because of Gollum.